The stars were never silent. At least not to Dr. Maya Ellison. Maya had spent most of her 36 years listening to the universe, to the hum of radio waves, to the hiss of cosmic background radiation, to the coded whispers that filtered through the massive dishes of the Deep Sky Array in Nevada. Most people thought of space as empty. She thought of it as an ocean, vast, uncharted, and brimming with secrets. Tonight, however, the ocean was restless. The night shift was always hers by preference. The array's 27 radio dishes spread across the desert like silver giants frozen mid-dance, rotated gently under the glow of the moon. The control room was dim, filled with the quiet purr of cooling fans and the rhythmic beeps of monitoring systems. Outside, the desert stretched to infinity, cold and indifferent. Maya sipped her black coffee, cold now, forgotten on the console, when the anomaly appeared. At first, it was a blip. A sharp spike on the frequency sweep, gone as quickly as it had come. She leaned closer, adjusting the filters, isolating the data stream. Her heart kicked. The spike returned, faint, rhythmic. Not random, come on. Don't be a glitch, she muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard. The data resolved into a narrowband signal repeating every 11.3 seconds. Too precise to be natural, too deliberate. Maya's chest tightened. For decades, SETI scientists had dreamed of this. A signal from the stars, undeniable and structured. Most had died without hearing it. She had trained herself not to expect it, but here it was. She ran the algorithms twice, 3 times. The same result. A signal. Coherent. Artificial. Her hand trembled as she reached for the intercom. Control to all staff, I need verification on channel 72. This isn't background noise. Repeat, this is not noise. Within minutes, the small overnight team had gathered around her console. A technician patched the signal through the room's speakers. The sound was eerie, a rising and falling tone, almost like a mechanical whale song. Repetitive, intentional, could be a satellite bounce, one of the interns suggested. But his voice lacked conviction. Maya shook her head. No satellite drifts on this frequency. And the Doppler shift, this thing is moving, fast. The room went silent. Everyone knew what that implied. The source was not Earth. By morning, the news had reached Washington. Maya found herself staring at the walls of a secure conference room deep in the Pentagon, still half in disbelief at the whirlwind of the last 12 hours. The signal hadn't stopped. In fact, it had grown stronger, pulsing with a strange mathematical pattern, prime numbers then geometric sequences. No natural phenomenon could produce that. Across the polished table sat men and women in uniform, their faces carved from stone. Generals, analysts, intelligence officers, and at the far end, Secretary of Defense Lorraine Pierce, a woman whose presence seemed to absorb all oxygen in the room. Dr. Ellison had never felt smaller. Dr. Ellison, Pierce said, folding her hands. You're telling us this is contact? Yes, Maya replied, her voice steadier than she felt. It's structured. It's deliberate. It's someone. Or something, one of the generals muttered. Pierce's gaze narrowed. Do we know where it's coming from? Maya hesitated. The answer made her skin prickle. The signal origin is shifting. At first we thought it was from deep space, but the Doppler data indicates otherwise. It's closing in, fast. A silence heavier than lead fell across the room. You're saying it's coming here, Pierce said flatly. Maya nodded. Yes, whatever's transmitting. It's approaching Earth. That night, as the world went about its ordinary chaos, the story broke. Not through official channels, but through leaks. An intern who whispered to a journalist a hacked transmission that slipped onto fringe forums. By the time the networks confirmed it, social media was ablaze. We are not alone. The phrase spread like fire. Some celebrated, some panicked. Markets crashed. Religious leaders declared the fulfillment of prophecies. Survivalists emptied supermarkets. Children stared at the night sky with wide eyes, imagining ships descending like in the movies. For Maya, there was only the hum of data. The signal had become her heartbeat, and then the change came. At 03:17 GMT, the signal altered its pattern. The tones merged into something new, a complex sequence of rising notes layered like chords. For the first time, it felt less like a beacon and more like a message. The algorithm struggled to decode it, but one fragment was unmistakable: a mathematical lattice. A grid, a map, coordinates to Earth. 3 days later, the sky tore open. It wasn't fire and brimstone, no thunderous arrival of motherships blotting out the sun. It was subtle, almost anticlimactic. A shimmer high in the stratosphere, as if the atmosphere itself had rippled. Radar screens worldwide lit up with anomalies. In the Nevada desert, Maya stood outside the array with dozens of reporters and military escorts, staring upward. The air hummed faintly, a vibration felt more than heard. And then, like something emerging from behind a veil, they appeared. 3 vessels, vast and angular, dark as obsidian, their surfaces shifting like liquid metal. They moved without sound, hovering effortlessly above the desert. Humanity had always imagined alien ships as cold, mechanical things. These looked alive. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Soldiers raised their rifles instinctively. Cameras clicked furiously. Maya's breath caught. For all her years of preparing, of imagining this moment, nothing could have prepared her for the reality of it. The lead vessel tilted, and for a heartbeat, she felt as if it were looking directly at her. Then the signal came again, not through the array this time, but inside her head. A resonance, a pressure behind her eyes. She staggered, clutching her temples, and a voice, not words but meaning, bloomed in her mind. "We have come. Do not fear." Maya's heart slammed against her ribs. Around her, others winced, staggered, some falling to their knees. The soldiers cursed, holding their helmets as if the sound was inside their skulls. The aliens were speaking. Not with mouths, not with machines, directly, and they were speaking to all of humanity at once. Maya knew in that instant that the world had changed forever. Not just because aliens had arrived, but because of the way the voice had felt. Not cold, not mechanical. It had felt curious, almost human, and that was more terrifying than anything else. The world had gone mad. In Washington, the president's emergency address was broadcast simultaneously to billions of screens. His face was pale, his words carefully measured. "We stand at a turning point in history. Visitors from beyond our world have arrived. We do not yet know their intentions, but we must remain united, vigilant, and calm." But calm was the last thing anyone felt. Markets continued to tumble. Religious leaders clashed over what the visitors represented. The streets of major cities filled with protests and celebrations alike, some demanding war readiness, others holding banners welcoming the starborn. In Siberia, a cult declared that the ships were the chariots of salvation, and hundreds disappeared into the wilderness to await ascension. Across the globe, humanity trembled. For Dr. Maya Ellison, there was no time for fear. She was brought under armed escort to Edwards Air Force Base in California, now serving as the primary hub for Operation Sentinel, humanity's response to the alien arrival. The 3 vessels still hovered silently above Nevada, unmoving, inscrutable. Inside the base, military personnel moved like a hive of ants, their radios buzzing with coded chatter. Maya was ushered into a command center where Secretary Pierce presided over a wall of screens. Live satellite feeds of the alien craft, streams of public reactions, endless graphs of electromagnetic activity. "Maya," Pierce said sharply, "you felt them, didn't you?" When they spoke, Maya hesitated. The memory of that voice still resonated in her mind. Yes, it wasn't speech exactly, more like an impression, projected straight into the brain. They can communicate telepathically or something close to it. "And you think they chose you deliberately?" The thought sent a chill down her spine. She wanted to deny it, but the truth gnawed at her. "I don't know. But when that first pulse came, I felt singled out." Pierce's expression hardened. "Then you're going to help us talk back." Hours later, Maya stood in the open desert once more, this time in the shadow of the alien vessels. The military had erected a secure perimeter, tanks and armored vehicles positioned in a defensive circle. Spotlights illuminated the ship's smooth, shifting surfaces, which reflected the light in strange, fluid patterns. The crowd of reporters had been banished miles away. This was no longer a spectacle. This was survival. A team of scientists and linguists assembled beside her, all looking terrified. Banks of equipment hummed with power. Dishes and transmitters pointed skyward. But Maya knew deep down that radio waves were useless here. The aliens didn't need machines to speak. As if in answer, the air rippled again. That same pressure filled her skull, stronger this time. She staggered but remained upright. "You hear us," the voice said. It was layered, a chorus of tones, but the meaning was clear. "Yes," Maya whispered aloud. The others stared at her. They couldn't hear what she heard. Or maybe they weren't listening in the same way. "Ask them what they want," Pierce's voice barked from the comm. Maya drew a steadying breath. She projected her thought outward, as if speaking with her mind. "What is your purpose here? Why have you come?" The response was immediate: to know, to learn, to measure. The words sent a shiver down her spine. To measure what? Humanity, Earth itself? "And if you find what you seek," she pressed, "then we will decide." The chorus fractured, and for the first time Maya detected something beneath the calm surface of the alien mind. Disagreement, conflict, as though the voices were not unified. "Doctor?" Pierce demanded in her earpiece. "What are they saying?" Maya hesitated. Should she tell the truth? That the visitors weren't a single will, but something more complex? She chose her words carefully. "They're studying us, deciding what to do next." The line went dead silent. That night, the aliens made their first move. Without warning, beams of light shot down from the 3 ships, striking the desert floor. Soldiers braced for attack, weapons raised. But instead of destruction, the beams solidified into structures. 3 towers, crystalline and translucent, rose from the earth as if grown rather than built. They shimmered faintly, humming in resonance with the ships above. "What the hell are those?" a colonel muttered. In the control center, Maya stared at the live feed, heart pounding. The structures looked like beacons or gateways. The alien spoke again, flooding her mind. "We invite one of you, come." Maya nearly collapsed. They wanted a human emissary. "Hell no!" Pierce snapped when Maya relayed the message. "It's a trap. We don't know what's inside those things." "But it's an invitation," Maya argued. "If we refuse, they'll see it as hostility. Someone has to go. And you think that someone should be you?" Maya swallowed. The truth was obvious. The aliens were already speaking through her. She was the bridge, whether she wanted to be or not. By dawn, the decision had been made. Under the eyes of the world, Dr. Maya Ellison walked across the desert toward the nearest crystalline tower, flanked by soldiers who stopped at the perimeter. The structure loomed above her, glowing faintly from within. Its surface shifted like ice under sunlight, refracting colors she couldn't name. "Dr. Ellison," Pierce's voice crackled in her ear. "This is your last chance to back out." Maya touched the surface. It was warm, alive. "I have to do this," she whispered, and the tower opened. The crystal parted like liquid, forming an archway that pulsed with light. Beyond was not darkness, but stars. An endless corridor of constellations, as though space itself bent inside the tower. Maya's breath caught. She took one step forward, then another. The light engulfed her, and the world vanished. She awoke standing on a platform suspended in nothingness. Around her stretched an infinite void filled with shifting shapes. Not space, not sky, but something beyond comprehension. And then they came. Figures emerged from the light. Tall, angular beings, their forms shifting between solidity and translucence as if they were both matter and energy. Their faces were unreadable, featureless masks that seemed to ripple with emotion Maya couldn't parse. Yet when they spoke, she understood. "Human, you are the voice of your kind. We will judge you," her pulse thundered in her ears. "Judge us how? On what basis?" The nearest being tilted its head, and for the first time she sensed curiosity. Genuine, childlike curiosity. On what you are. On what you can be. On what you will choose. And behind the words, she felt something else. Fear. The aliens feared humanity. Not because of weapons. Not because of numbers, but because of something deeper. Something they had seen in the human mind that unsettled them. And Maya realized, with a mix of dread and wonder, that this conflict wasn't about invasion or conquest. It was about potential.
The Orion Belt glittered like a river of shattered diamonds, 3 massive stars burning in eternal fire. But tonight, the void would burn with something else. War. The human fleet, nearly 200 ships strong, emerged from slip space at the edge of the belt. Frigates and destroyers spread out in flanking formations, cruisers formed the backbone. And at the heart of it all were the newly armed dreadnoughts. Steel leviathans armed with experimental rail cannons capable of tearing through a moon's crust. On the flagship Vigilant, Admiral Kalen stood tall, hands clasped behind his back, his eyes locked on the tactical display. Status of the fleet? All ships reporting combat ready, Admiral, the COAM's officer replied. Kalen gave a grim nod. Good. Then let the galaxy witness that humanity will not bow. Scouts reported the first wave of Xyrath ships slipping from hyperspace. Swarm of biomechanical frigates, sleek and dagger-shaped, their hulls glowing faintly green. Behind them came cruisers, their weapons already primed. The trap was set. Hold fire, Kalen ordered, his voice calm despite the tension on the bridge. The fleet waited in silence, ships powered low, hidden among asteroid shadows. Every heartbeat stretched into eternity. Then the enemy passed the line. Now, Kalen said. The void erupted. Hundreds of missiles streaked out from the human fleet, trailing fire as they tore into the alien formation. Asteroids shattered as rail cannons roared, slinging slugs at near relativistic speed. The first wave of Xyrath frigates vanished in blossoms of blue fire. But the aliens did not falter. Plasma lances cut through the dark, carving human ships apart. A destroyer, ironclad, was split in half, its burning hull drifting lifelessly. A civilian carrier converted into a missile barge was torn open, spilling its crew into the void. Still, the humans pressed. On board the Dauntless, Captain Ilara gritted, her teeth as her ship shook from a near hit. Return fire, don't let them regroup. Her gunners obeyed, a barrage of torpedoes striking an alien cruiser. Its shields flared green, then collapsed under the relentless assault. The ship broke apart, spilling molten shards into the abyss. Then came the turning point. A squadron of human frigates broke formation, charging directly into the enemy line. Leading them was Commander Rourke aboard the Valiant. His ship was already bleeding sparks, its armor in tatters. Rourke, pull back, Ilara barked over comms. Negative, he replied, voice steady. They want fear. Let's show them.
Fury! The Valiant dove into the heart of the alien swarm, cannons blazing. The frigate tore through one, then another before alien plasma gutted its hull.
As the reactor went critical, Rourke spoke his last words into the comms. For Earth, for the stars. The explosion was blinding. The Valiant detonated with the force of a sun flare, consuming 3 alien ships in its death throes. Silence followed, and then the humans roared. Their courage surged, their formations pressed harder, driving the enemy back. But the victory was fleeting. A ripple appeared in the void, space bending, tearing open. And then it came. The Xyrath mothership. It dwarfed everything around it, a monstrous cathedral of black steel and green light. Its arrival alone disrupted senses, a living storm in the void. The alien fleet rallied around it like disciples worshipping a god. On the Vigilant, Kalen's jaw clenched. There it is, the heart of the beast. His hand tightened into a fist. All ships, prepare to face hell itself. The ambush was over. The real battle was about to begin.
The void shook with discord. Maya stood on the shimmering platform, heart hammering as the alien chorus splintered. Their once perfect harmony had fractured into warring tones, some urging restraint, others demanding annihilation. She could feel the tension like static in the air, each pulse of sound pressing against her skull. They are unstable. They leap without reason. They burn too brightly. But brightness illuminates. Brightness consumes. It was chaos. And all of it was aimed at her. Stop, Maya shouted, her voice raw. You can't decide like this. You don't know us. You only see fragments, the chorus stilled. One figure, taller than the rest, flickered forward. Its voice was colder, sharper. We know enough. We have seen this story before. Worlds that rose unchecked. worlds that ended in ash. We will not allow the fire again, Maya swallowed. This was the voice of extermination. The gardener ready to cut the sprout. But before she could speak, another figure surged forward, its tones softer, resonant. Yet this one argues. This one shows us what others did not. Perhaps the fire can warm, not only destroy. They were divided, and Maya was the fulcrum. On Earth, the world teetered between dread and fury. The sudden collapse of one crystalline tower had ignited fear. In Washington, generals pressed harder for military action. "We can't sit here waiting to be judged like cattle," one barked, slamming his fist on the table. "We strike now. EMPs, kinetic warheads, nukes if necessary. Show them we won't go quietly." Secretary Pierce stared him down. And what if that's exactly the test? What if they're waiting to see if we lash out in fear? The president sat silently, sweat glistening at his temple. Billions of lives waited on a decision, and yet the only real power lay with the woman inside the alien void. "Pray she convinces them," Pierce muttered. Maya lifted her chin, summoning courage from some hidden well. "You said others came before us, civilizations that burned too brightly. But did any of them try to change? Did any of them fight for more than survival?" The cold figure rippled. "They did not. They raged, they grasped, they consumed." "Then judge us differently," Maya insisted. "Judge us by what we can be, not just what we've done. Give us the chance you denied them." The chorus shifted uneasily. She pressed on. "Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, we've caused pain. But we've also built wonders. We've loved. We've dreamed. We've stared at the stars and asked why. Doesn't that matter?" Silence, then the cold voice again. "Dreams are dangerous. Dreams build bombs. Dreams end worlds." Her pulse spiked. She needed something stronger, something undeniable. And then, like a flash of lightning, the answer came. "You're afraid of us," she said quietly. The void trembled. The chorus flared in dissonance. Some voices recoiled in denial. Others hissed agreement. "You prune worlds because you're scared of what they might become. You call it balance, but it's fear. You're not gods. You're caretakers who can't stand the thought of losing control." The tall, cold figure loomed closer, its form shivering with fury. "We are eternal. We are balance. We are order." "No," Maya whispered, her voice trembling but fierce. "You're stagnant. You fear change, but we are change. That's what makes us human." Suddenly, visions erupted around her, not from the aliens this time, but from her own memories. Her father teaching her constellations through a dusty telescope. A stranger offering her a hand when she fell off her bike. The smell of rain on hot pavement. Her first lecture hall, full of students with wide, hungry eyes, and then sharper, the mushroom cloud of Hiroshima. The smoke of 9/11. The starving faces of children in famine zones. The blood-stained fields of forgotten wars. The aliens pushed these images forward, trying to overwhelm her with humanity's sins. But Maya held her ground. "Yes, we've failed. Again and again. But every time someone stood up, someone rebuilt, someone hoped. That's who we are." She met the gaze, and if it could be called that, of the cold figure. "You can destroy us. Or you can see that our greatest strength isn't what we are now, it's what we could be." The void quaked. The chorus fractured further, voices clashing like storm winds. Dangerous. Brilliant. Unstable. Infinite. The cold figure raised its arm. Light gathered, searing like the promise of obliteration. Maya braced herself, every muscle trembling. And then, another figure stepped between them. Smaller, softer, its form almost translucent. Enough. The chorus fell silent. The fire may consume. But without fire, there is no light. Without fire, the forest freezes. Without fire, we stagnate. They are not the end. They are the beginning. The void shuddered. The cold figure withdrew, seething. The chorus swirled in fierce debate. Maya couldn't follow every thread, but she knew one thing. She had changed something. Back on Earth, the alien ships shifted for the first time in days. Their surfaces rippled with brilliant light, casting rainbows across the desert sky. Soldiers scrambled, weapons primed, fear gripping every heart. Then, silence. The ships hovered, unmoving as if awaiting a decision. "God help us," Pierce muttered. In the void, the final judgment was at hand. The chorus merged again, voices rising into harmony, but not the same perfect chord as before. This This one was fractured, layered, imperfect. Human almost. We will not destroy you. Not yet. We will watch. We will learn. You are fire, and fire is both danger and promise. Show us which you choose to be. Maya's knees buckled with relief. Her chest heaved as tears pricked her eyes. This wasn't mercy. It was a test. Humanity had been given time, nothing more. And every action from this moment would tip the scale. Desperate for answers. Pierce knelt beside her. What did they say? Maya looked up, her voice hoarse, eyes burning with the weight of it. They're watching us, she whispered. Every choice we make, every path we take. We've been given a chance, and it might be our only one. Overhead, the alien ships pulsed once with light, then drifted higher into the stratosphere, becoming faint stars against the night. They hadn't left. They were waiting, and for the first time in her life, muffled, as though she were listening from underwater. Her eyes kept drifting upward toward the sky. The alien ships were barely visible now, faint glimmers like new stars above the stratosphere. To the untrained eye, they might have passed as constellations, but Maya knew better. They were watching, waiting, and she couldn't shake the truth. Humanity was living on borrowed time. In Washington, the president's address was broadcast to every corner of the globe. His face was pale, his hands trembling as he gripped the podium. "We stand," he said slowly, "at the beginning of a new age. Visitors from the stars have judged us and spared us. For now." He paused, letting the words sink in. "This is not a victory. This is a challenge. They will watch everything we do. Every choice, every conflict, every act of kindness. We must decide what kind of people we will be, not just for ourselves, but for the universe." The speech was dissected, debated, memed, and mocked within minutes. But beneath the noise, beneath the pundits and the protests, something else stirred, a gnawing awareness in every human heart. They were not alone, and they were not free from scrutiny. Maya became the reluctant face of Earth's survival. Overnight, her name was known in every language. Interviews were demanded, biographies written, conspiracy theories spun about what she had really seen inside the alien tower. Some hailed her as a savior, others cursed her as a pawn of the enemy. Through it all, Maya refused the spotlight. She wasn't a savior. She wasn't special. She had just spoken the truth. And yet she carried the weight of knowing how close humanity had come to erasure, how thin the line was between existence and extinction. She spent long nights staring at the sky, wondering if the other civilizations, the ones the aliens had pruned, had voices like hers. People who begged for a chance, but weren't heard. The thought haunted her. Weeks passed. The ships remained. They didn't attack, didn't communicate further, didn't move beyond their silent vigil. Humanity's initial panic dulled into a restless tension. Markets stabilized. Politicians returned to bickering. Life impossibly stumbled back toward normal, but nothing was truly normal anymore. In the Middle East, two rival nations halted decades of bloodshed, their leaders meeting under the shadow of the ships. The ceasefire was fragile, born of fear more than trust, but it was a beginning. In Beijing, the government announced a sweeping environmental initiative, vowing to reverse decades of pollution. Cynics scoffed, but others whispered, maybe the aliens are watching. Maybe this will matter. In New York, a violinist played in Central, parked beneath the glow of the alien lights, and thousands gathered listening in reverent silence. For a few minutes, there were no divisions, no borders, just music, echoing under the watchful sky. Maya saw all of it, and hope flickered in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, humanity could rise to the challenge. But she also saw the darker side. In hidden bunkers, generals still sharpened their knives. Nuclear arsenals were not dismantled, only hidden deeper. Secret programs poured billions into weapons that might pierce alien armor. Just in case, they said, militias stockpiled food and bullets, convinced the end was only delayed. Cults spread like wildfire, some worshiping the visitors as gods, others calling them demons to be resisted at all costs. The duality of humanity, creation and destruction, mercy and violence, was still there, as raw as ever, and Maya knew the aliens were watching it all. One night, unable to sleep, she returned to the array in Nevada. The vast dishes spread across the desert looked the same as they always had, but they felt different now, like relics of a forgotten age when humanity thought the stars were silent. She stood alone under the glittering sky, the chill wind tugging at her jacket, and she spoke softly, not to herself, but upward. "We're not perfect," she said. "We'll never be, but we'll try. That's all we can do. We'll try." For a moment, the night was silent. Then faintly, impossibly, she felt it. That resonance behind her eyes, that chorus of voices not speaking but meaning. "We are watching." Her breath caught. She closed her eyes, tears sliding down her cheeks. "Then watch us grow," she whispered. The ships remained above the world, silent guardians or silent judges. No one knew which. Humanity carried on beneath them, stumbling, failing, creating, destroying, loving, always choosing. The aliens had given them time. What humanity would do with it was still unwritten. Maya lifted her face to the stars, a spark of defiance in her chest. If the universe was watching, then humanity would show it something worth watching.